Imagine this. One man, only one man, convinced over 900 people to drink poison, all in the name of faith. This is the story of James Jones. He was a preacher, prophet, and a master manipulator. He called himself the Father. He promised heaven on earth to his followers, but delivered hell in the jungle. Now, from a young age, Jones felt a calling to preach, and so in 1955, in Indianapolis, he founded a community called the People's Temple. He preached about equality, love, and justice, and this was during a time when there was a lot of prejudice in the world. So whether black or white, rich or poor, he said everyone was welcomed in his church. The people loved him for this. They called him the man of God. Politicians called him a hero. Even the press called him a prophet of progress. But unbeknownst to them, Jones was slowly building an empire of control. By 1965, Jones had moved his temple to California, and throughout the 70s, he wove his way into the city's political fabric, developing an image of the devoted progressive preacher. People's Temple grew into a communal life with over 3,000 followers. Jones' grip on his congregation tightened, and so did his paranoia that was fueled by drug use. He warned his followers that danger lurked everywhere. First, it was the Ku Klux Klan. Then it was the Nazis. Then he said it was the redneck vigilantes. And finally, it was the omnipresent reach of the American government that was after them. Jones prophesied that anyone who dared defy him would be met with calamity. He held special revelations, feigning supernatural insight into private lives, just to portray a godlike image. By the late 1971, the outside world began to see through Jones's miracles. Reports revealed that the so-called healing services were staged tricks, and rumors of his fakery spread like wildfire. In one of the stunts, Jones allegedly drugged a woman, slapped a cast on her arm while she was unconscious, then later healed her in front of his cheering congregation just by removing the cast. In another instance, Jones had a loyal member from his inner circle come up to the front of the church to be healed from cancer. The member dramatically coughed up the alleged tumor, which turned out to be chicken gizzard. As rumors swirled, 8 members escaped, telling the world about the abuse. Jones was convinced that he was losing control and that the authorities were closing in, and the only way to survive was to escape. With his paranoia in full gear, he started plotting the relocation of the People's Temple. Jones wanted more than just distance. He wanted full control, a place untouched by American law where he could be God again, and so he chose Guyana. In 1977, he moved his flock, about 900 of them, to the dense jungles of Guyana in South America. He promised the members that Guyana would be a socialist paradise, a sanctuary free from government oppression, but instead, the paradise turned out to be a prison. Life in Jonestown was brutal, and Jones controlled every aspect of existence. There was dawn to dusk labor, starvation, sleep deprivation, surveillance, coerced marriages, forced abortions, sexual manipulations, with hours and hours of ideological brainwashing blaring endlessly over loudspeakers like a background music. Jones fortified and subdued the group with armed guards and relentless paranoia. Discipline came swiftly and brutally for those who faltered. Jones demanded loyalty, total loyalty. Jones had allegedly said to a friend, "Let's keep them poor and tired, because if they are poor, they can't escape, and if they're tired, they can't make plans." They had drills which they called White Nights, where members rehearsed mass suicide, a terrifying game to test their loyalty. Reports of human rights abuses and coerced confinement began leaking to the outside world. In November 1978, the US government sent a representative, Leo Ryan, to investigate these reports, and the mission ended in horror. Jones had hosted a reception for the delegates, during which some of the temple members passed notes to Ryan asking for help to leave the temple. And as news spread through the community that some members were attempting to leave, tensions began to rise. During this time, aides at the temple started to prepare a large metal tub with grape flavor poisoned with cyanide. As Ryan's delegation and some temple members boarded planes to leave Guyana, armed guards arrived and shot at them. Sadly, about 9 persons were unalived, while the rest escaped. Jones received word that some people had escaped, and he concluded that the escapees would soon inform the United States of the attack and the military would descend on Jonestown. Jones gathered the community together. He spun a tale of inevitable death in the hands of American military, with only one solution: revolutionary suicide. The cyanide-laced mixture was then rolled out and handed out to members to drink. The people were in hysterics. Jones coached them, telling them, "Don't be afraid to die. Death is a friend." He had recorded the entire death ritual on audio tape. Jones directed that the children be unalived first, then the adults would poison themselves. For those who refused to drink, they were injected with cyanide via syringes. The crowd was also surrounded by armed guards, offering the members the basic dilemma of death by poison or death by a guard's hand. At the end, 912 souls were gone, including 276 children. Jones himself was found unalived by a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. He had taken the easy way out. At the end of his tape, Jones concluded by saying, "We didn't commit suicide. We committed an act of revolutionary suicide, protesting the conditions of an inhumane world." Now, this incident resulted in the greatest single loss of American civilian lives in a deliberate act, and this was until 9/11 happened. When soldiers entered Jonestown days later, they found bodies everywhere, rows and rows of them, mothers clutching to their babies. Only 85 people had survived this ordeal. And then the phrase "drinking the Kool-Aid" became a slang for blind obedience. The Jonestown massacre became the ultimate warning that blind faith, absolute power, and charismatic evil can produce horror beyond imagination. And sometimes the most dangerous villains wear the mask of a savior.